English Poet, a YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to talk about a poem called Virtue, and the writer is George Herbert. Before we start the poem, let's know something about the poet George Herbert. Herbert was born in 1593 in Wales City in England, and he was died of consumption in 1633. He took his education at Cambridge University. He was a poet, public orator, and a priest. Let's see Herbert as a poet. His style was metaphysical. We might have heard the names of other major metaphysical poets like John Donne and Andrew Marvell, along with Cowley. Donne's poems, as we know, were love poems and the religious poems. Marvell specially focused on love poems, and Herbert was a religious poet. Herbert never seems flashy in his poems. He never made any kind of show off in his poems. His spiritual feelings were pure, fresh, and free. His poems have been characterized by a deep religious devotion. Some of the notable poems written by Herbert were Jordan the First, The Collar, Easter Wings, Discipline, The Pulley, Virtue, etc. Now let's look at the poem, The Virtue. The theme of the poem is virtue never dies. All the beautiful things, whether it is a sweet day, sweet rose, or the spring season, which contains all the beautiful things, are subject to decay. Then, my dear friends, what is permanent? What is the thing which will be there forever? Then Herbert at the end says in the poem that a virtuous soul will stay forever. Herbert uses three images of day, rose, and the spring season in the poem. So dear students, let's read out the poem. The poem Virtue by George Herbert. Sweet day, so cool, so calm, so bright, the bridal of the earth and sky. The dew shall weep thy fall tonight, for thou must die. Sweet rose, whose hue angry and brave bids the rash gazer wipe his eye. Thy root is ever in its grave, and thou must die. Sweet spring, full of sweet days and roses, a box where sweets compacted lie. My music shows you have your closes, and all must die. Only a sweet and virtuous soul, like seasoned timber, never gives. But though the whole world turn to coal, then chiefly leaves. Now let's look at the poem stanza by stanza. In the first stanza, the poet visualizes a sweet day which is cool, calm, and bright. He imagines that the day represents the bridal, means the wedding of the earth and the sky, as if they have worked together in order to bring about a day. Sweet day, so cool, so calm, so bright, the bridal of the earth and sky. However, this cool, calm, and bright day must come to an end with the passing of time and at the fall of the night. The poet says that the day seems cool, calm, and bright. It's beautiful. But this is going to end. As the night comes, the day has to end. The dew shall weep because the sweet day will die in night. The evening dew is regarded here as the tear of sadness over the death of the sweet day. The day, however, gives way to the night as life gives way to death. In the second stanza, the poet speaks of a lovely, delightful rose, a red rose. The sweet rose has a bright red color which indicates its angry mood and splendid look. The rose seems to be asking the onlooker to wipe the tears from its eyes, as it knows that it must fade away and die. The color dazzles the eyes of the onlooker. The stanza says, sweet rose, whose hue is color, angry and brave, bids the rash gazer wipe his eye. Thy root is ever in its grave, and thou must die. Though the rose looks lovely in the season of spring, it's very much red, crimson red, but it's going to decay. It's not going to stay forever. Just like life may be so beautiful, full of red colors, vibrant colors, but it's going to end. The death is certain. In the third stanza, the poet gives the beautiful image of the spring season. The spring is pictured here being full of sweet days and colorful and fragrant flowers, and is compared to a box full of sweets to denote the sweetness and beauty of the season. The delights presented in the first two quatrains are also contained in the third stanza. But like everything else the poet has narrated earlier, these two must come to an end. Sweet spring, full of sweet days and roses. This season, the spring season, might be full of sweet days and roses. It seems like a box where sweets compacted lie. My music shows you have your closes. And the last line of this quatrain says, and all must die. After discussing death at the end of all the quatrains before, in the last quatrain, the poet talks about the permanence of a virtuous soul. Through a metaphoric explanation, the poet says that a seasoned timber cannot be burnt or changed into a coal, and therefore it never surrenders to destruction. Similarly, the virtuous soul remains unchanged in spite of the passing of the time. The phrase "turn to coal" means to get totally destroyed. It implies that the whole world will be destructed with the passing of time. By chiefly leaves, the poet means that the virtuous soul will remain alive even after the world is no more. As such, the entire poem, which all along warned of death, shows the way in which Herbert believes that he and his readers may achieve eternal life. Only a sweet and virtuous soul, like seasoned timber, never gives. But though the whole world turn to coal, then chiefly lives. How beautifully the poet Herbert has conveyed that virtues will stay forever, even after our death. The message of the poem is that the people will remember us for our virtues even after our death. Our outer appearance, the show off which many people are doing, is not important, as it must decay someday. But our inner beauty, our kindness, our virtues will shine forever. So the poet wants to implicate that we should keep our relation with God and nature and keep a humanitarian approach in life. So that's the end of this discussion on the poem Virtue, composed by George Herbert. I hope you understood the poem. Keep watching this English Coeta YouTube channel. Keep appreciating. Stay safe. Be happy. Thank you.